if you're watching this video, you're probably in the same shoes that I was in when I was trying to decide which lens to buy for my Sony camera. As of making this video, if you're trying to buy a 7200 f2.8 lens for your Sony camera right now, you have two options if you go with the native route, which is the Sony $7200, that's over $2,000. And then you have the Tamron version, which is around $1,200. But besides going with those options, I tried something different, which was to get the Sigma 7200 f2.8 Sport version and then use the Sigma's MC-11 adapter to put it on your Sony camera. And according to Sigma's website, you can get native-like performance out of using the listed lenses that are on their website. But from my experience, unfortunately, that wasn't really the case. Now, as of making this video, there isn't that much information on how the Sigma 7200 works on the Sony A7R3 or any of those Sony cameras, so I'm making this video just to inform you guys who are also in my shoes. But considering I just came back from the UPS store to return the lens, it wasn't the best experience. Now, before we get in, let's talk about the issues I had with this lens. First of all, when I first bought the lens, the autofocus wasn't working at all, which was weird because I would plug the MC-11 adapter to the camera and then I would put the lens on it, and the autofocus would work for 5 seconds like perfectly, and then it would just stop working altogether. So I was freaking out. I couldn't figure out what was going on with it. I don't know if my adapter was broken or if the lens was broken. I was googling it and like nothing was coming out. Like I said, there isn't that much information about this lens, but then I realized that on the side of the MC-11 adapter there was a red light blinking, and when I looked it up, it meant that it needed an upgrade, which means that you have to plug this into your computer using Sigma's own special cable. So this is the cable you need in order to update the MC-11 to the latest version so you can use Sigma 7200, and it's from USB type A to this weird port thing. And honestly, I didn't have this cable laying around. Apparently it comes in the box with the MC-11 adapter, but I guess I threw it away because I got like a year or two ago. So I was out of luck until I found my Leica Coolpix charging cable, which happened to be the same cable that the Sigma MC-11 adapter uses. So besides going with like USB-C or USB type B or whatever, they just went with an old like Nikon charger type of cable. I don't know why they did that. Why don't they just, you know, go with a normal cable that everyone uses, but for some reason they went with that. So I was able to update my adapter using the cable after I plugged it into my computer, and then the autofocus worked fine after that. Ever since I did update the MC-11 adapter, there's been one of the two times where like the autofocus just stopped working again, which was also one of the reasons why I returned the lens, because there is a certain unpredictability to the autofocusing system, which we'll get into later. But after the update, it worked pretty much fine. But there's another issue with that thing, is that you cannot update the lens using the adapter. You have to buy the Sigma dock in order to update the Sigma lenses. So I spent $55 into getting the Sigma dock, and even after I bought it, it took over a week for it to arrive to my house. And afterwards, after I plugged my lens in, it said it was already updated to the latest firmware. And the funny thing is that while I was shooting this video, there has been a new update, and that didn't fix the issue either. So after the lens was updated, the autofocus in photo mode was honestly pretty good. The thing is that, would I say it's native-like? I guess a little bit. If you're in like a bright area, then it works pretty much like a native lens. But once you like go into lower light situations, like if you're indoors or whatever, then the autofocus haunts a little bit, which is one of the reasons why I returned the lens, because there is a certain unpredictability to the lens where a lot of times it works perfectly fine. It works really fast like a native lens, but when you're indoors, it starts haunting sometimes, which is again the unpredictability of the lens autofocus, that it works sometimes and sometimes it just doesn't work at all. So when it comes to the photo autofocus, I would say it works like 90% of the time, where 90% of the time where it just works perfectly fine like a native lens, but there's that 10% of the time where it'll just not focus or it'll just like start haunting. Again, this is a 7200mm lens, so you're probably going to be using it for, you know, weddings, or if you're shooting sports or wildlife. And in those scenarios, those are fast-paced scenarios where, you know, you have to nail the focus. The focus has to be good. So that unpredictability, you know, just worries me, because this is a lens I did get for shooting weddings and also doing some events. And again, I don't want to miss any shots because of the lens. You know, I don't want that unpredictability, and also I don't want that like anxiety over me where I'm thinking, oh, is this lens gonna work today while I'm doing the shoot? Now the second problem I had with this lens was that the autofocus is pretty loud on it. Now it's not too loud where you're gonna not be able to do any photo shoots or whatever. For most scenarios it will be fine, but personally I do a lot of behind the scenes for movies and TV, and I like to take pictures while, you know, they're rolling, which is one of the big benefits of shooting with a mirrorless camera, is that you can shoot completely silent with these cameras. But now if I add the Sigma 70-200mm lens that's making, you know, this like weird crickling sound, I won't be able to do it while they're rolling, so that kind of kills it for me, which is one of the major reasons why I returned this lens. But again, for most people and for most scenarios, like if you're shooting weddings or if you're shooting events or whatever, you know, there's gonna be enough ambient sound that you're not gonna be able to hear it. But if you're in the middle of a movie shoot or a TV shoot, while the whole set has to be quiet and you're in the background, you know, making those noises, that would be unacceptable. So for those scenarios, that's one of the big reasons why I also returned the lens. Now here's the third and one of the biggest issues I had with this lens, is that the video autofocus just is unusable. And the weird part is that it's not unusable because it doesn't keep autofocus with you. The thing is that the autofocus on this lens is amazing when you're doing video. It like captures the face and it holds it there like perfectly. So it sounds great, right? Well, it's not, because it just does this like weird wobbling stuff, and I haven't been able to like find any information on why this is happening. I even called up Sigma and asked them what was going on with it, and they pretty much told me there's like no real answer to it. So that is a big deal. For video autofocus, you cannot use this lens at all. Even after I set it to like the slowest like autofocusing settings on the camera, it was still doing this wobbly stuff. You just can't use it. Even for like YouTube videos or for this, you can't use it. And again, I know a lot of people will say, oh, you know, professionals don't use autofocus on video, but there are times I do use video autofocus. Again, if I'm doing a YouTube video like this, I'll use autofocus sometimes if I'm shooting with this camera, because this camera has amazing autofocus, and a lot of these future cameras that are coming out, they have amazing autofocus to the point where you don't even need any like focus puller or anything. The camera just does an amazing job, better than any human can do. So if you get this lens, you can't do that stuff anymore, which is quite a bummer. But the things that I get, the autofocus on it works really well, so I feel like this is something that Sigma could fix through a firmware possibly, if it's not a hardware issue. But from what I can, it's mainly because the autofocus is going back and forth for some reason, and that's causing that wobbly effect. But again, for now, you can't really do it, and I did buy the Sigma adapter and like updated it to the highest firmware, and it was still having those issues. Now the fourth issue I had with this lens is, well, let me show you something. This 150-600mm Sigma lens, that's 4 pounds. It's a really heavy lens. I use it on my Sony A7R III sometimes when I'm doing wildlife shooting, but a lot of times I end up not bringing this lens because it's so big and heavy. It just like ends up hurting my back, you know, when I'm trying to take pictures, but I can take some great pictures with this lens. Now I'm telling you this because the 70-200mm is the same size and weight as this lens pretty much, which is quite ridiculous considering if you look at the Tamron version of the lens, it's half the weight. So again, that's a pretty big deal, because if you're doing something like weddings or events where you're, you know, shooting for like 8 hours or whatever, you know, having a lens that's 4 pounds on your already heavy camera, that will become a big issue. So again, that's going to depend on the person, but for me, having a lens that large and heavy, I don't know, it just felt like I was just like making a lot of compromises to use this lens when I can just buy a native version that's, you know, around the same price, and I'll also get better performance, it'll be lighter. But anyways, that's pretty much all the negatives I had about the lens. Now let's talk about some positives. First of all, the image quality is great. But again, if you get the Tamron or the Sony version, those are also gonna have really good image quality, so it doesn't even really matter at this point. Pretty much any new lens you buy, it's gonna be sharp. It's gonna give you a great color rendition and contrast. You know, all these lenses that are coming out right now, they're all amazing, and they're probably better than what you need. So personally, the image quality is great. That's great. The autofocus is pretty good when it works. So if you're shooting during a sunny day, then it works perfectly fine. But when the light starts dipping and you're shooting indoors, then autofocus gets a little dicey. The lens has image stabilization on it, which is great because it works great also. And the thing is that if you get the Tamron version, that one doesn't have image stabilization on it. And when you're at like 180 millimeters, then that is going to make a big difference. But if you get the Sony version, that also has image stabilization, but it's double the price. So I mean, it's going to depend on your budget which one you should go with. But I think the biggest reason why to get the Sigma 7200mm is the flexibility you're going to have with the EF mount on that lens. So that means you can use it on your Canon cameras if you have any laying around. If you have any cinema cameras lying around, a lot of those use EF mount. Like if you get the Pocket 6K camera, you get the new Red Komodo camera, this RF, but you can easily adapt it to EF. Or you get any Ursa cameras or even Alexa. You know, a lot of cameras use the EF mount on them. So if you get that lens, you'll be able to use it on a bunch of different cameras. And which is one of the reasons why I got it on Sony, because I could easily adapt it onto my Sony A7R3. But then I started thinking, which camera do I really want to buy next? And I had three cameras in mind, which was the Sony A7S III that recently got released, which is amazing. But then I was like, oh, maybe I'll wait for the A7 IV. And then I was thinking, oh, maybe I'll just wait for the FX6. So all three of the cameras were Sony cameras. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to stick to Sony because other options from Canon or whatever doesn't really interest me that much. And if I'm going to be shooting like a movie or something, then I'm going to be renting a cinema camera and then also renting cinema lenses with the camera. I'm not going to be using photography lenses with that camera. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to stick to Sony for now. One other good thing about the lens that has a proper focus pulling wheel. So when you're trying to focus with this lens, you can see exactly where you're focused. And you can change it besides using that electronic wire thing that the Tamron version actually has. If you're doing any professional video, being able to focus pull with that lens is also quite important. While with the Tamron version, it uses that wire system, which is just not good for professional video where you have to focus pull with that lens. Another thing that's worth mentioning that this lens has 11 aperture blades while compared to the Tamron that has 9 aperture blades, which means that you're gonna have smoother, rounder bokehs in the Sigma version. And also Sony version also has 11 blades, but that's double the price. But the Tamron only has 9, so the bokeh quality is gonna be better on Sigma, but honestly, who really cares, you know? I'm sure, you know, they both will look great. But anyways guys, that's gonna be it for this video. Hope you enjoyed it. And make sure to leave it in the comments if you guys have any questions about the lens at all, and I'll try to answer you guys. Because again, there isn't that much information out there about this lens for some reason. But I made this video, hopefully can help some of you guys who are trying to make a decision on which lens to buy. Now that I returned the lens, which lens am I gonna be getting? I'm not too sure. I don't think I'll be getting the Sony version just because it's how expensive it is. I just can't justify paying that much money for a lens when I can get a cheaper version. So I'm probably gonna end up getting the Tamron 70-180 version of the lens. But I am hearing rumors that maybe Sigma will release a native version sometime soon. So if that happens, you know, I don't want to be stuck with the Tamron version because I do love Sigma lenses a lot. I think the build quality is great on them, and having a proper focus wheel is also very important to me. But again, we're gonna see what comes out. So I think I'm gonna wait a little bit and then see if Sigma comes out with their own version. But otherwise, I'm just gonna get the Tamron version because I think that'll do everything I needed to do. But anyways guys, thanks for watching this video, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.